Hi guys, welcome back to a brand new episode of 360 Crickhouse. Once again, I welcome Siddharth Suresh and Gautam Satish into the show. Welcome.
Hey guys,
Hey guys, I hope you're all enjoying our analysis.
In today's video, they will be doing the Swot analysis of the squads of the Sunrisers Hyderabad and the Delhi Capitals. And here we have the squad of the Sunrisers Hyderabad. Siddharth, your take on the squad?
yeah, looking at this year's Sunrisers Hyderabad squad, just the addition of Bhuvi alone makes it a much more formidable team. Yes, they didn't have much action in the auction, but look at the players that they have this year. It's pretty good. So talking about the strengths, I think it's their pace department. Just the fact that they have 5 good Indian pacers and they do not need to rely on foreign pacers to supply them with wickets, that it's in itself is a huge advantage for Hyderabad. This allows them to play a quality spinner like Rashid Khan and maybe even Mujibur Rahman. So their bowling is top notch. For me, it's the best in the league, and they're able to defend low total. So that is their biggest strength. Weakness for me, yes, they do have Williamson and Manish Pandey, but still the middle order looks weak. They have roped in Kedar Jadhav this year. He did have a dismal season last year, so we have to see how he fits into that middle order. Opportunities for three, I think Khalil Ahmed, Kedar Jadhav, and youngster Priyam Garg. I think they all have good opportunities to play. We have seen how Priyam Garg has taken lessons from Dhoni last season. We've seen few interesting clips. Hopefully, he can use that this season. And Khalil Ahmed can hopefully make his way into the T20 internationals, and Jadhav the same. Hopefully, he can come back to play for India. Threats, I think it's the over reliance on Warner and Bairstow to score most of the runs. And sometimes Williamson too. I think they usually soak up all the pressure and do the run scoring, but it will not always work out. So I think that is one of the threats.
Thank you, Siddharth. Gautam, your take on the squad?
Yeah, well, SRH, when you think of SRH, it's their bowling that comes to mind. Always known to defend the low targets. And this time around as well, it's no different. They have the best, the bowling attack with all Indian pace bowlers and a world-class spinner in Rashid Khan. So bowling is definitely their strength. And as Siddharth said, they're one of the teams that don't have to depend on an overseas fast bowler. So they can play an extra batsman. And speaking of weakness, yes, it is the middle order, which will again be a concern. I thought Mitchell Marsh, if he was available, he would, solve their problems. But he has pulled off out of this year's IPL as well. So that again makes their middle order a little bit of weak, I can say. Yes, they have bought Jadhav, but we all saw what he did in the previous season. Not writing him off, but his strike rates and average have dipped over the past few years. So that will be the weakness. Speaking of opportunities, I think it's a great opportunity for youngsters as well as for senior batsmen who want to make their comeback to the Indian team. Somebody like Kedar Jadhav, Manish Pandey too. I think he's somewhat lost his place in the Indian team. So I think this is going to be a great opportunity for him as well. And youngsters like Priyam Garg and Abhishek Sharma, it's going to be a big opportunity for them as well. And speaking of threat, yes, it's their over dependency on the top order to get the bulk of the runs. They have managed it well so far because of how good Warner, Williamson, and Bairstow have been. They've been able to keep scoring runs, but I think if the opponents can take these few wickets early up, then they are in a big trouble. So that's a threat for me. Yeah.
Thank you, Gautam. Next, we have the squad of the Delhi Capitals. Gautam, your take on the squad?
Yeah, well, the Capitals have had two successive success in the IPL. They've made it to the playoffs in the 2019 as well as the 2020. So they've done well since they have renamed their team to Capital. So speaking of their strength, I feel it's the quality of Indian batsmen that they have. I think it's one of the best in the tournament. The quality of Indian batsmen. Unfortunately, this year Shreyas Iyer will be unavailable. That is a big blow for them. But I think there's quality to back up Shreyas Iyer. I think there's Dhawan, Rahane, Pant, Prithvi Shaw. So there's plenty of depth in the Indian batting. And not to forget the pace duo of Rabada and Nortje. I think one of the best in the tournament. So these two are the strengths for me. Speaking of the weakness, I feel their Indian pace department is quite thin. I think with only Umesh Yadav, I feel that will make to the playing 11, and he's somebody who has not played international cricket for quite a few months after he sustained the injury. So the Indian pace department is quite important to back the foreign pace department. So that's a bit thin for the Delhi team, with only Umesh Yadav being the senior Indian bowler, and he's susceptible to injury as well. So that's a weakness for me. And opportunities. Speaking of opportunities, I think I'm really looking forward to see how Rishabh Pant captains the Delhi Capitals. I think they've taken a chance by giving him the captaincy. He's been having a great uh, season with the bat for India. He's had a great season in all the three formats. So I think they've taken a chance, but not a bad move. It's a very bold move from from their team. And speaking of threats, I think that can also be a threat for them. If I don't know, it'll be interesting to see if it affects his captaincy. No, there are players who cannot take that captaincy pressure and it can affect their batting. So Delhi will not want that to happen. So that is a threat that I see.
Thank you, Gautam. Siddharth, your take on the squad?
Yeah, I mean, it's almost wonderful to see how Delhi's fortunes have changed. We have the last two positions in the table have always been synonymous with Delhi, but for the last 2 years they've changed their fortunes, and it's wonderful to see a young captain like Shreyas Iyer taking the responsibilities and leading the team well. But unfortunately, this year he misses out, and hopefully Steve Smith in some way can fill his shoes and guide the team, and Rishabh Pant can learn, few tips from Steve Smith. Talking about the strengths, I think it's the pace duo mainly, Nortje and Rabada. Both of them fierce, strong, and they bowl with a good pace. It's scary to face them, and they get a lot of wickets. So I think that is their biggest strength. Plus the addition of Steve Smith, in the absence of Shreyas Iyer, it's so important that they need an anchor in the middle, and Steve Smith can play that role. Weakness for me is the middle order. Yes, as Gautam said, there is quality, but we haven't seen consistency from them. Be it Rahane or whoever comes in the middle order. We have Stoinis, Hetmyer, last year Shreyas Iyer too. None of them were in form. There was a lot of inconsistency, and we saw towards the end of the season they really started wobbling. So I think the middle order is still a question of worry. Hopefully, the addition of Steve Smith, will bring about a change. Opportunities for me, Prithvi Shaw. He had a disappointing season last year. So many ducks, and just poor batting overall, poor decision making. And hopefully he can work on it. He's a quality batsman. Plus he has the power to strike the ball well. So hopefully he can find the form. And it's also an opportunity for Rishabh Pant to show that he can lead the team as a captain. Threats for me is you look at the way they entered the playoffs last year, on the series of continuous defeats. So I think if they are planning to make it in the playoffs, that's not how they would want to enter. Their middle order faltered and they started wobbling. They didn't know what to do. So hopefully they can find their feet, stick to a good team and play throughout the season consistently.
Thank you, Siddharth. Your rating for the two squads?
Okay, I'm going to give Sunrisers an 8 out of 10 and Delhi a 7.5 out of 10.
Thank you, Siddharth. Gautam, your rating for the two squads?
I'm going to give both the teams an 8.
Okay, thank you, Gautam. That's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you so much, Gautam and Siddharth. Bye.
Thank you guys. Hope you enjoyed our video.
Thank you guys. Catch you in the next video. Cheers.